If you're interested in working with us, we have some job opportunities on our website. Feel free to check them. Right. So, academia is a weird place. I've been there for many years.
Sorry to hear that.
And I've seen things people would definitely believe. Right. So we are going to talk about some failed compilations about the recent events at UCLA predominantly, and also Columbia, but mostly we're going to focus on the UCLA and also some of the fun bits, but also some of the more serious fails. Here, a meme is born. Just look. Chaos in the background, and there's this guy sunbathing with a book.
The dog in the room full of fire saying everything's fine.
And we have here a meme is born. Now, I don't know if that's a win or a fail.
It feels like White Boy Summer to me.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
It seems like, the meme with when Rome was burning, what were you doing?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's a bit fun.
He's got a book to read, man.
He's actually doing work. You seen that video of the Asian guy back during 2016? I can't remember which university it was. There's they're all chanting in the library, hey, hey, ho, ho, whatever. And this Asian guy just comes and goes, hey, hey, this is library.
Right. Now here we have the fake screaming award. I think it reminded me of a movie. You're Tearing Me Apart, Lisa. It's one of the movies that...
Probably Wiseau.
Yeah, you see.
You're hurting me! You're hurting me! Ow! 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 Help! Help!
This does remind me of You're Tearing Me Apart, Lisa.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Yeah. Fake a scream.
He's having none of it.
Fake.
He's having absolutely none of her rubbish.
Yeah, and Josh has a very chadish comment. This reminds me of when a toddler won't go to bed when they're supposed to, except this is the behavior of a grown adult.
Yeah, in inverted commas.
Yeah. Right. Now, academia is a safe space. We have here drone footage, and you can definitely feel free and safe when you're in a place that is shown by drone footage and there isn't the plus symbol in the middle. So you see here, they're having combat lessons. Ollie London says pro-Palestine activists trained how to fight in hand-to-hand combat at UCLA. That's a useful skill. I mean, they're paying so much money, or the taxpayer pays so much money. You want to know how to defend yourself.
Against what?
At UCLA.
Yeah.
Against what?
Or are they off to Gaza next week?
Activists are receiving lessons on how to attack Jewish counter-protesters.
Whoa.
The drone footage comes after a night of intense clashes and physical violence at UCLA.
So here's how to take down the Jews, is essentially what they're saying.
But there's no plus symbol in the drone, so it's a safe space.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, it's not.
It's not going to be bombarded.
Oh, right. Oh, right, yeah. You mean like an Obama drone?
Yeah. Now, you know how sometimes some people are really scared to cross the road and they want human shield? They want someone else to be a sort of like a buffer zone, the first person to hit, to be hit by cars, by rogue vehicles that crash on bridge and people. Says the far left extremist members, Andino says, of the Gaza encampment are posting instructions to their members on how to respond when or if the LAPD breaks up their violent occupation. Whites are told to be human body shields for people of color.
What?
Operation Get Behind the Whitey.
It says here, hi y'all. We expect a police response by 6 p.m.
The whole situation?
They know the exact time of the hit. They have some systems, I don't know, maybe snitches. Or shortly after, all intel is pointing towards a sweep. But there is no need for panic, just reasonable caution. We're no longer differentiating between pink and red. Individuals previously in the pink zone will now be assuming the same risk as those currently in the yellow. Due to present circumstances, our zones of risk have shifted and are as follows. Green, yellow. Sorry, I must say, it's really fun when they're talking about the pink zone. You're talking in military operation about no man's land and stuff. Yeah. Hey, I'm in the queer zone. We need some backup. We need some tanks in the queer zone.
They're mincing everywhere.
Police officers, there are thousands of them.
Broken arrow,
It says
broken arrow.
Just won't stop dancing.
Yeah, it says here in the yellow zone.
Right.
But this is only in the yellow zone because, there are the white regiments.
Right.
Assist with grouping supplies for evacuation. White and able-bodied individuals form a line barrier around the encampment, while black, brown, and other people of color will form an inner circle.
What they're saying there is that black people are disabled.
No, they're just too precious to risk having killed.
Oh, okay.
You seen that Onion skit about that?
No.
They were like, back in the Bush years, there was an Onion joke that they weren't going to let gays in the military because they're too precious. Yeah. So they can't have our precious gays be killed in combat.
And you see here, white and able-bodied individuals will form a line barrier around the encampment, while black, brown, and other people of color will form an inner circle within the encampment.
What's the other color? You've got black people, brown people.
Oh, yellow. That's why it's the yellow
It's the yellow zone.
But I don't think it's the yellow zone for this reason. I think it's the rainbow flag.
It's not a Chinese internment camp.
Right. Okay. Here, I think we have a double fail. Okay. So some students, I think that was at Columbia. They did a sit-in. They broke into a building and they sat there. And this student here asks for humanitarian aid. Literally.
From who? For what?
I don't know. Let's play this video.
Why should the university be obligated to provide food to people who've taken over a building?
First of all, we're saying that they're obligated to provide food to students who pay for a meal plan here.
But you mentioned that there was a request that food and water be brought in, unless I misunderstood.
To allow it to be brought in. I mean, well, I guess it's ultimately a question of what kind of community and obligation Columbia feels it has to its students. Do you want students to die of dehydration and starvation or get severely ill, even if they disagree with you? If the answer is no, then you should allow basic, I mean, it's crazy to say because we're on an Ivy League campus, but this is like basic humanitarian aid we're asking for. Like, could people please have a glass of water?
But they did put themselves in that.
Sorry, you have students from Ivy League universities who break into a building, they occupy it, they're doing a sit-in, and they ask for humanitarian aid. Yeah. Oppression Olympics is not just a conspiracy, it's a fact. We have here some entirely self-obsessed Ivy League students who are actually trying to say that they're on the same level of need with people in Gaza. They're asking for humanitarian aid in Columbia. Honestly. And also I want to say that the person behind seems to me to be a bit confused.
Yeah, what's going on there?
He has
the midriff valve?
He has
I hadn't noticed that.
He has the kefir, I think this is called. And also he shows some belly button here. Yeah. I have a feeling he wouldn't have a good time in Gaza.
No.
Queers for Palestine, no. I do want to wonder, though, with the administration, would they send juice boxes and graham crackers? Because like, if you're going to have people act like children, treat them like children.
I do like graham crackers, though.
Maybe they would say, you need to take into account those who are lactose intolerant, those who can't eat gluten and stuff. So humanitarian aid needs to come with all these provisions.
Pack a lunchbox before you go and do your sit-in.
But I think so. I don't know. I think the person behind seems a bit confused. I don't know if he's realizing that something is going wrong.
I'm all for providing money for these protesters to go to Gaza.
Here we have another average...
that's the same guy, isn't it?
Pro-Palestine Western
is it the same
individual.
Guy? I thought that was...
I don't know. It just says best common wins.
Oh, so it's just midriffs.
Yeah. Right. So, in Pulp Fiction, when John Travolta and Samuel Jackson had the problem and they called Marcellus Wallace and they told him, we need you to come to Tarantino's house and he says, don't worry, I'm bringing in the wolf.
Yes.
With Harvey Keitel with his bow tie coming in.
Yeah.
Here they're sending the wolf. Lisa Fithian, who is a protest consultant.
What?
Yeah. So here is her CV. She's an American activist born in 1961. She's a political activist and protest consultant.
Amazing.
Could you be a consultant for literally anything these days?
Yeah, of course. It's great work if you can get it.
I don't know. She's giving suggestions to students about how to handle in the police, how to handle all this, the violence and all this stuff. And anyway, she has a CV here. If you're, I don't know, people who are planning riots should check her CV. Sorry. Anyway, here we have a very interesting, I think this is the greatest individual fail. The greatest individual fail. I want us to play this video because I think it shows the absolute confusion that people have who are talking about things in these protests, because it really seems to me that they have a vision that makes zero sense, and they are literally being emotionally manipulated by academics and also other organizations that infiltrate academia. They appeal to their emotions, they appeal to young people's sense of injustice, which isn't yet formulated well, and they're trying to make them into activists as opposed to students. They're trying to turn time, which is the basic good that academia gives students, into an occasion for political activism. I want us to play this and see what is in people's mind.
Not terrorists, they are resistance fighters, they are freedom fighters, and they are heroes for a new world. And as in so many ways, as it is in so many ways, as it shuts down the supply lines of genocide, Yemen is leading the way. Because Yemen declared Israel and the United States to be terrorist entities and subjected to sanctions.
That's right.
And so in so many ways, Yemen and the Yemeni people and the Yemeni workers and government and armed forces and Ansar Allah movement are speaking for all of us when they continue to take action to decolonize the Red Sea and shut down the shipping routes of that genocidal regime. So I want all of us to not be silent about the resistance, to not be silent about the armed resistance, and to be loud and clear about it, and to say that it is true that October 7th changed the world, because October 7th not only threw the mask off of these imperialist states who use language of human rights in order to invade countries and depose their leadership and destroy self-determination, but what it also did is it showed that Palestine is almost free of Zionism from the river to the sea. And it showed that the people of the region, from Palestine to Lebanon to Iraq to Syria to Iran to every country and every people in the region, and all of us around the world are part of an international resistance movement that is on the path to seeing the region free of imperialism and all of our world a new collective liberation for all of humanity.
She is calling for a collective federation in all of humanity while presenting any kind of Western powers in the region as solely responsible for the violence that has ever come from that region.
At the same time, she's supporting the violence of October the 7th.
Exactly.
This bingo-winged, fat, young white woman with a shaved head is like, yes, hello Hamas, aren't we the same? We're in the same fight. It's like, woman, I would stone you to death, and people would shed tears over that one. So that's that. I just, I'm sorry, but it's just Queers Palestine. Yes, brother, one struggle. It's like, ugh.
It's internalized whiteness. That's why they're doing this. So that's why I think that a lot of these students, they just have Marxist sentiments, and they're just absolutely fantasizing about this idea of revolution and overthrowing stuff. And they throw in all these words, collective self-determination, and they view things entirely in a myopic sense, as if there was no Western influence there, the whole region would be just a free place of collective self-determination. Yeah. Well, to this lady, you could actually use your time in academia, if you're a member of academia and you're just transported there by other organizations, to learn some basic stuff about history, like, just ancient Mesopotamian cultures there. They weren't exactly peaceful. Hittites, Sumerians, Assyrians, there's all sorts of Eastern expansionism that you may find helpful to read about at some point. Just saying maybe. Right, so I want to say that there's a very good video by Christian Watson on the Marxist roots of the pro-Palestine protests. Feel free to check it out. It's very good. Here we are I must say that with Christian, I've done a symposium, and it was a wonderful discussion. And he pointed my attention to this. There's a organization called the National Students for Justice in Palestine, who are talking about their values. And I want you to see at what they list their values.
I think we might need to get rid of the dark mode. We'll scroll
Yeah,
down.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, there we are.
So-
That's loading.
So they say, we believe the struggle for a free Palestine is also the struggle for Black liberation, gender and sexual freedom, and a livable and sustainable planet. All pursuits for freedom, justice, and equality are materially connected and require us to struggle against state violence, colonialism, capitalism, and imperialism in all of their forms. There's just silly thinking. It reminds me of what Biden was saying in one of his speeches, where he always said, well, all of the things are connected. He was putting all of the anti-things, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, all of these are connected, anti-environment, anti-whatever.
Yeah.
It's just, you're supposed to go boo, you're supposed to go hooray. Zero thinking.
But to be honest, I think that these things are connected. All these things have Marxist roots, right? From Black liberation to gender theory to the sexual revolution. They're all rooted in liberalism. And I think even broader than that, I would say they're all works of the enemy. All of these platforms, all of these protests are about smashing the patriarchy, destroying heteronormativity, which is about breaking down the family and an affront to the ultimate patriarch, who is God. That's what it's all about. It is literally satanic.
I would say it's not necessarily in liberal, but that's for another occasion. People who are watching this know what I think of the issue. Right. Let's go now to more serious fails that are, I would say, more, they're just sad. And they are showing multiple fails in terms of the police, the students, the university authorities, and I would say ultimately, possibly the governor and the federal government. Now, the thing is, it seems to me that I'm taking a very hard line on universities. These things should not be allowed. Universities are there for students to learn.
Yeah.
They're not there for activism. That should not be tolerated.
Well,
That's
pay my tuition.
Yeah, that's it. And a lot of people there, they are not. It's either their parents that pay, or the society that pays.
Yeah.
They're getting student loans. When you get money from your parents or anyone else to go and study, you should feel grateful for the opportunity that is given to you, and use that time to understand the world and actually understand the kind of path of research that you will have to tread upon throughout your whole life, rather than being someone who thinks that everything makes sense and you know it, and anyone else is a bigoted idiot.
Yeah.
Now, the people who are actually manipulating students into doing this, and also the university authorities and the state authorities that don't intervene, they're actually showing a weakness on the matter. They're not enforcing the law. And when you're not enforcing the law, there are gaps of law enforcement. There are groups that come inside, and they come and have maximum requests afterwards. And this shows, I'll tell you what happened here. There are allegations of a young Jewish woman that was beaten unconscious at UCLA. And then there were Californian Jews that mobilized against the pro-Palestine encampment. And for many hours, there was a kind of mob clash between the two of them. Now, you see here, there are just chaos scenes. I want to say that this is a huge fail on all parts involved. This shouldn't happen. I want to say here that both the university authorities and especially state authorities have the sort of victimhood mentality, and they think that they're persecuted. Why? That might sound a bit counterintuitive, but I'm going to say why. It seems to me that this is precisely what happens in movies, where, you have someone who has pissed off two different mobs, and they try to survive, and they come up with a plan of putting these two mobs meeting each other, so they fight each other, and the threat gets canceled. So they are just free of threat. that's what happens when the city is, when the state is afraid of enforcing the law. This is a failure on all parties involved. This is just anarchy, and it shouldn't be tolerated on any side. Universities are not there for mobs, either side. Here, you have all these mobs fighting. No, just, this is unacceptable. All sides have failed here. All sides are responsible. And here we have at around 3:20 a.m., Anthony Cabasso says the LAPD has successfully cleared the area, separating both functions. However, overhearing police, their orders are not to arrest anyone or clear the encampment, simply to separate both opposing protest grounds. And I want
out of there.
Yeah, and I want to say something about criticizing the police. There's a difference between state authorities and police officers who are doing their work. I want to show you one clip here. Just imagine that you're trying to do your job like a police officer, and you have people like that waving, umbrellas and stuff, obviously running the risk of, getting blind or something. Why?
Well,
because
they're there for a fight. I mean, you've come with riot shields and
helmets.
And that's a tragedy. These people are trying to do their jobs, and their leadership is weak.
Yeah.
And all authorities there, they're just treating them as, I don't know, I would say, the same BS that says the cops are pigs.
Yep.
I think that's total nonsense. They're trying to do their job, and all of the other people there, they're just trying to just virtue signal. And what is interesting is that you see all these fights there. There are also people with phones. Obviously, we use them to show footage, but it's just completely surreal.
Get the water cannons out.
Yeah. And anyway, I just want to end with a good note. So there were some students at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, that protected the flag of their country from people who wanted to remove it.
That is sound.
Yes, that is sound, and I think it's good to end the fail compilation, both funny and bitter and sad, with a win. And I think that this is good, and I totally agree with Phil that these are the good guys.
But this is they're self-policing, right? Because again, the police aren't stepping in, the authorities aren't stepping in. If you don't have law that's enforced, how do you have law?
You don't have. You just have an area where vigilante mobs are meeting each other, and that leads these mobs to slowly and sometimes very fastly being overrun by really antisocial elements, if they haven't been already, which is a very big if in this case.
If you appreciated that episode from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content that's on the site, such as Common Sense Crusade with Calvin Robinson. If you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Twitter at lotuseaters_column on Twitter. Thank you and goodbye.